Welcome in. It is ATB at the buzzer. We are down a soldier. We'll talk about Uncle Duke's and where he is. And the
we're up two from last
we are
week.
technically up
yeah,
two.
yeah. We're down one from the normal format, up two. It's like the Red Sox.
Summer is finally starting to end, and we'll all be back.
We haven't had a full house in at least a month.
It's been a while.
There's not enough room on the screen for all of our egos, so I think there's always going to be one
so
missing,
it's good.
just in case. And there'd be no room for Rubber Shoes. We're going to talk about that too. We'll get there in a second. Anyway, we appreciate you joining us. By all means, if you're on the intertubes and join us at atbshow.com, that'll pull you right to our YouTube channel. If you're checking out Rubber Shoes in the morning with the Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up, that is always on Instagram, and in our bio on Instagram you'll see the link tree for us to get all of our social media. We appreciate your support. If you're watching and you're enjoying the content, share with a friend, and by all means comment, hate mail, all the stuff. We love it. We're going to get into it right away with speaking about being up one, down two, sideways three. It's like watching the Red Sox on a daily basis and their psychosis around trying to figure out what their identity is or lack thereof. Fresh off, Rubber Shoes, of course, hops on and he's like, first and foremost, he's like, so did everybody just finish watching the Red Sox? I'm like, I'm in my office. I just finished not killing a few clients. So no. And then he wanted to run off. So here comes a shameless plug for somebody who's not our sponsor yet. You wanted to run off and do what? You wanted to wash your glasses?
Clean my glasses.
I'm telling you, if you don't know, now you do. They're welcome. They can start sponsoring us. It's called Peeps, which is also ironically my term of endearment for Janina. So Peeps, also the Marshmallow Birds.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. So how does this work? You asked. I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
This thing pulls out. So you slide this out. See the little clamper here?
Yeah.
What's your big problem when you're washing your glasses? When I take these off, I look like the old guy from Up, right? Yeah, I know. So you put that over the top and bottom of the lens, right?
Yeah.
And then you drag it around and it squeegees perfectly the whole circumference of the lens. And when you put it back into this thing, of course, they're clean because I did this morning and I haven't licked my glasses yet. And you put it back in, there's a carbon shield inside this sleeve here. And when you put it back in, it sort of re-disinfects and sort of scrapes away the schmuck.
Gotta get the little heels on that.
I believe they are.
I'm glad I don't
I
have
believe
glasses,
they are $14.99 on Amazon.
All the plugs.
All the plugs.
We should start all the plug show. Yes, ATP. Yes, I like it. All right, Tim, you're in charge of that. Tim, get that started.
All the plugs. Anyway, so Rubber Shoes and Little Shoes, fresh off the couch. So what happened with the Red Sox?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What's
going on? So I left the office. They were winning 3-1.
Yeah.
By the time I got home,
Classic Red Sox move.
Also not a sponsor.
Blew it. It was 3-3 when we got home. Then they in extra innings, the Rangers got one run.
Mm-hmm.
They tied it up. Went to the second extra inning. I believe it was in the 11th.
Yeah, it was bomb.
And they had the bases loaded, and Travis Shaw hit a walk-off grand salami.
Right after both of us were trying to figure out how we were going to blow this.
Yeah.
Because it just...
I thought he was going to ground to the pitcher, then throw to home and first, so 2 outs.
The Red Sox are threatening to be our ultimate Nostradamus moment, because I think it was right before the All-Star break, we had a show and went around and each person was like, oh yeah, they're definitely making the playoffs. Absolutely. It'll probably be in first place. We're going to sweep the Yankees right out of the playoffs. The Yankees won't go anywhere. And now it's like, holy shit, they might not even make the playoffs.
Who was it? Who said it?
That was all of us. Every single one of us.
Who said that they absolutely fear when we go into the break, when we're up at the break?
Yeah.
It's never good.
No, I agree. But we
good.
all said, but we all weighed in. Maybe you weren't on that show, Tim. Maybe that was when you were on the Cape. I can't remember, because I know for a fact we went around the horn and everybody said, I'm not sure if they're going to be in first place or they're going to.
We all said, yeah.
Yeah, we're all said they're definitely going to make the playoffs.
If you go from like shows from then to now, it just slowly week by week, like,
it gets awful.
They'll probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Looking a little, just every week getting hopeless.
Yeah, Heim Bloom is 2 halves of a whole moron. Yeah, everything. Yeah, super angry. It's problematic to say the least. So
And the Yankees have caught fire too.
Yeah,
So,
the Yankees
that doesn't
have
help.
won 9 in a row.
God damn it.
Yep.
So what are we? So Tampa Bay is up on the Yankees. What, 5.5 or 5 or
I think it
wherever
might,
that is, and we're behind them. So we are
Yep.
in third.
Right.
Let me give
fighting
you
for
the
last.
updated standings right here. All right.
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
God
So-
help us.
The Yankees are 4.5 behind Tampa Bay, and the Red Sox are 6.5
Oh.
behind. And in the wild card,
Hmm.
we are half a game ahead of Oakland in the second spot right now. 2 games behind the Yankees for the first spot, which I assume Oakland will probably play today. So that's why we're a half game up, because we just won.
Yep.
Right.
We were
Right.
tied with them going into today.
So there begs the question: Do we catch fire and get back into contention for the division, or
So
are we stuck to the wild card this year?
I would say we're stuck with the wild card at this point, because you figure you have to climb over the Yankees and the Rays right now. with
Yeah. The Rays are
a
unbelievable.
little over a month left. That's going to be tough. Although we do have games with both of those teams left.
Right.
And other than they played the Chicago White Sox, which is in first place in the Central. Other than that, they have a fairly easy schedule. They have the Twins coming in. They're one of the worst teams in the league. If they can just win the series, like they don't have to sweep like they swept Baltimore last weekend. They don't have to sweep every series with these.
We're not even asking them to sweep the worst team in the league. Just take like one game.
2 out of 3. Win the series.
out of 3.
Keep winning the series, and you're gonna be right there at the end. And they got to play better against the Yankees and Tampa Bay right now, because they have not played well.
They just
the
got to
last
play
month
better in
with those
general.
teams.
There's
And the
nothing
thing
worse.
is, it's kind of like they flip flopped earlier in
Exactly.
the year. The bullpen was doing really well. Their hitting was doing really well, and their starting pitching was shaky. And now the starting pitching has done really good. Evaldi didn't get the win today. He had a great outing today. Sale's been really good. His 2 starts that he's had. But their bullpen has been blown. That's what happened today. Is Barnes blew it in the 9th.
It's frustrating because we all thought they were overachieving right at the beginning of the season.
Well,
I
they
think-
were.
I think-
Now we know they were. Apparently.
Well, right, they were right, but I'm saying, yeah, but so it's like there's nothing worse than getting your hopes up. I feel like the Celtics did that to
I
us
was just gonna
last year
say they're
too.
pulling a Boston Celtics for the last like
Exactly.
5 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, so it's fun to watch you when you're overachieving, but it's such a letdown when you're like, oh, we're coming back to earth and we actually
the
kind of suck
problem
over
is
mid-pack.
They were playing over their head the first half of the season, and you're like, okay, they're going to come down. They'll play not as well, but still decent. But they've gone the total opposite. They
Yeah.
went from playing the best to playing the worst.
Right.
It's like meeting the really hot girl at the club late at night. The lights are
Mm.
dim. The parking lot's dim. You drive her back to your apartment. She's like,
And
you know
she's
what? I'd
drunk.
like to put on the lights for sex. And you're like, oh no, this
No,
was a fun
that's
ride,
trouble.
but it's about to end. Yes. She's
Hello,
about to
Uber?
realize she came home with a catfish. And I
Yep,
mean
that's-
that like I literally look like a fish. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest to God, though, like
It's true.
it's
though.
unbelievable that they are, because the talent hasn't changed. And to take Heim's side for 13 seconds, like the talent hasn't changed. I think they could have gotten away with doing nothing. I think really it's so psychosomatic that the press and everything they heard online about us doing nothing was like management sort of saying, well, not that they gave up, but I think if you really as a team, as a player on the team, listened and thought they should have done something, they'd convince themselves of that, like definitely over the top. And I'd argue they've had some really tough plays at first. Just the other day was that bad play at first, and JD shouldn't have been in right. Like all the things that happened the other day, because people that were out of position shouldn't have been where they were when it took place. And it's little stuff like that Rizzo would have solved.
And their defense is one of the worst in the league this year.
Yeah. Well, isn't there something to the fact that the ownership, and I hate that I'm even going near defending the ownership because I can't stand the ownership, but isn't there something to the fact that they potentially were in a planned 3-year rebuild and they're in year 2, and the fans got overly excited about year 2 because year 2 kind of sucks usually, but we were doing pretty well. And so they were like, well, we're not going to make any major moves in year 2 because we've got a plan in place.
Well,
Isn't there something to that?
It's definitely that, because I don't care. Everyone's human. It's like nobody's made of steel. And these guys on the field, they're like, oh, the GM, the owners, they don't have any faith in us that we can go out and win it this year. So they didn't invest in us. And, it's hard not to get that, well, I guess we're not going to win. And a defeatist attitude,
Yeah.
I'm laughing because Adam's talking about like these 3-year builds and all this kind of stuff. If I was Tyler's age, I'd be okay with that. At my age, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Like I'm at the age now when I hear
clock's ticking, buddy. Let's go.
Words like dungarees, like you don't have time for multi-syllabic words. You just say jeans. These are the same people that are driving so slow. Like you don't have any time. You're gonna start speeding. Yeah. Your next left is gonna be your wake,
I think our generation, Tim and Adam, we went so many. Well, if you're a Celtics fan, you had the 80s with some championships. But other than that, we didn't have anything, and we've won so much. I think if we never won again, not
full
that
transparency,
we don't want to have
when
it,
Adam and I were Celtics fans and you were a Lakers fan, but continue your thought by all means.
And Pistons fan.
Tyler knows.
Like our grandparents, that they went years and years and years, especially because this is until Tom Brady showed up. This was really a Red Sox town.
Oh, absolutely.
People it didn't matter what the Celtics did, didn't matter what the other teams did. It was Red Sox, and they hadn't won, and woe is me. And that was the big thing. Now everyone's winning, and
now nobody's winning. So we're back where we started.
People are getting pissed because the Bruins haven't won in 10 years. It's like, oh, well,
they won in 10 years.
Yeah.
I remember when the Red Sox hadn't won in my lifetime, and I was in my 30s. So
right.
Yeah.
I've seen more championships in like the first year I was born than like a 50-year-old Detroit Lions fan has seen in his lifetime.
Wow.
There's that.
I'm not
sure.
upset.
But so you're just tempting fate with the Cleveland Browns jersey then. Is that what's going on?
We're trying to
trying to find another sports city to root for?
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued just from a weather standpoint. Obviously, the Red Sox played today because they were making up yesterday's game that got postponed to today. From a weather standpoint, and that's not why Scotty Dukes is not here. We'll get to that in a second. Did you guys lose power in Lowell?
Oh,
we didn't get anything.
So there's a meme,
some right now,
but that's been floating around out on the interwebs. It was a set of 4 chairs and a table.
One tipped over. We will rebuild.
Over and said, "Wow, Andre really did a big job on it."
Yeah,
it's like that's it. We had some downpours yesterday, but there was no wind.
It's like probably 2 hours of actual rain. We might be getting something within the next like 30 minutes, but.
Yeah, and Adams, Southern Connecticut. Did you guys get hit initially?
No, we didn't get anything. It was funny because you sent me a text, which I appreciated, and I got text from like every single person that I hadn't even heard from in years.
Oh yeah, I was like, he's in Haiti right now. Like, this is like he's in New England's Puerto Rico. I hope he makes it. Yeah.
Yeah, the national news had like the one right on Milford, Connecticut, where I am. And it was like everybody was texting me out of the blue, like, I hope you're okay. I hope everything goes okay. And then I wake up Sunday morning and I look at the window. I'm like, it doesn't even look like it's windy at all.
Yeah, I know that we kept putting on the different news stations. They wanted it
so bad.
So
bad. There's nothing right now, but you can see the waves are getting a little white caps out
that
there.
seagull looks ornery.
Like this was.
It was
these
awful.
are the storms that happen that everyone starts to prepare and nothing happens, and then when a whopper comes in, they're like, I remember Andre, nothing happened, and then you get that.
Then your roof's missing.
Trouble.
Janina
I mean, there were parts of Connecticut that got hit a little bit, but nothing. I mean, it's like a down tree or something.
We had a tornado touchdown today in Marlboro, Mass.
Oh boy.
Oh, all right. Well, that's not nothing.
Yeah,
we just need Shelby Scott out there to
in the snowbank.
Announce in a snowbank. Yeah.
I think we're the seacoast up here, southern New Hampshire and southern Maine is supposed to be clear by like breakfast tomorrow. It might even be sooner than that now because I haven't looked at the weather. Janine gets so worked up, and like, I'm my father's son. I can't get away from the news. Like my dad always had the news on, just always. So I just love it. Like,
that's how I am.
I am so old school. I will go home. I almost get cranky. Like if I get home and I've missed the nightly news, right? Because for me growing up, oh yeah, you have no idea. So
that's amazing.
Me growing up, it was always CBS. I think it was CBS in those days. It went from Walter Cronkite, dear Lord, to Dan Rather, but like watching the nightly news, like national news.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we have finally genuflected to New Hampshire. So we'll watch Channel 9 because
guys.
No, stay with me.
About old school. They
WMUR
from like the 1950s.
Well, and of course the voice work is our good friend Jeff Berlin. Nobody covers New Hampshire. Nobody cares. First of all, like
nobody covers.
And there's no other news station. So if you don't cover New Hampshire, nobody's covering New Hampshire. Let's start there. But we'd be watching, and like I would always have on Channel 5 out of Boston, and the weather would hit, and she's like, "We can't see our weather." I'm like, "Pan up, just look above Wonkam's head. That's our weather, right?" And they're both Hearst, right? The same news company.
Yeah.
So we'll invariably put on 9, but we'll do that, and then I switch over to 5 because I feel better about it for David Muir at night. Yeah. And you watch the national news, and especially Channel 9 was really funny because I said to her, I'm like, "What is weird about this?" She's like, "That's the sports guy." They had Jamie Staten, the sports guy from MUR, standing over this. I mean, Bentley Lane, my backyard, walk my parents' yard down into the woods. It's called a creek.
Yeah.
If you're from Kentucky, you'd call it a crick.
Like
he's standing on this cement slab over a creek.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, it's really not doing anything." Like he has no idea. Like he should be at like a girls' soccer game or something. Like he has no idea what's happening. Everybody's in their vests and their hats, trying to pretend there's a breeze. Like,
the news stations down here have those mobile weather units. Yes. So there's like 50 of them driving around in SUVs, and like the windshield wipers aren't even bothered. They're just like
they're squeaking. They're squeaking.
Yeah. It's like,
and they're storm chasing.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah, it's a bunch. I mean, I'm super grateful because as a dad and a homeowner, I don't want a tree on my house. I can't say that enough. So I was thrilled it missed us, but like a good storm is a good storm. But at the same time, but Janine is just so, because I'm watching, she's like, "Oh my God." And there was that footage, which most people in New England saw this. That guy was ducked down behind like this energy panel at the beach.
Smacked him in the head.
And the wind blew and hit him. And that panel bent back and hit him in the head and knocked him over.
Yeah.
We saw that file for like 7 different news updates. She's like, "This one guy that needs to shave his back and buy bigger t-shirts got knocked over." But so ridiculous. But I'm glad everybody's okay.
Do you still have your whole home generator?
We do, which is like Murphy's Law, right? So
right. You probably have never used it.
The generator. No, we have. Ironically, the one time we used it the most was a spring storm. And it was like, it was the absolute like whitest privilege of all. We had it running to keep the central air going, it was phenomenal. Yeah. Yes. It was very, very humid outside. Anyway, the problem with that is like the generator itself was probably 4, and the panel inside, because it's got its own panel that turns on automatically, that was probably $1,000. It was $5,000 just to run the wiring from the panel to the generator inside, right? So it turns into like a $10,000 prospect that, it looks nice when it turns on, right? When we need it. Like, it didn't turn on once. And a whole bunch of people.
Oh, that's good though. I mean, that's
it is good. It is.
Generator's one of those things that you don't ever want to use.
Like insurance.
Yeah. If you have
we have 2 tanks tied to ours. If we lost power, we're good for about 5.5, 6 days. Not bad.
Oh, that's good.
If we're conservative, like we can watch TV and stuff. Like I said to my electrician when we got it done, I'm like, I want to be the asshole at Christmas that has like the lights on. I'm doing laundry, making microwave popcorn, ironing shirts just because I can, But anyway.
Meanwhile, the guy down the street can't flush his toilet.
Oh, speaking of unimpressive, so Cam Newton, still apparently our starting quarterback. Yeah. Where does everybody feel about that? I thought it was phenomenal. Of course, Coach was on Boston radio this morning. He continues to be the most talkative I've ever seen him. Like he was pretty open on radio, and I think he put it pretty succinctly. Like, I didn't invite somebody back to the team to not be part of a competition.
Right.
Right. Like, I think everybody's so sold that it should be Mac's job. And I thought Thursday night, Cam
Looked
looked great.
fantastic. Yeah.
He was throwing darts. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm excited
against
that
the
this is
Eagles'
going to be
third string
What's that?
against the Eagles' third string players.
Yeah, I guess I
still,
wasn't really
play the-
factoring that in. Was that
Yeah.
was that who he was
Yeah,
up
they
against?
didn't have any of their starters in the game.
Yeah.
But you play the team that you play, though, right?
Philadelphia said they
it's-
got enough out of the joint practices that we don't need to put our starters in the game today.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I
I'm
wasn't
sure.
paying
I'm
attention
sure
to that.
Goodell was thrilled about that.
There's a lot of teams doing it. The Browns haven't played a starter yet in their two preseason games.
That so goes against Belichick. Belichick will never do that.
And
I don't
last-
think he'll ever
I
do
think
that.
he'll be scant though this week, right? Because this is the last
Maybe.
Thursday. This is
Yeah, you
it,
might be right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Last night in the so it was the Chargers and the 49ers, their starting quarterbacks didn't start. And I don't think their starting running back started either.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. Why bother having a preseason then? Who cares?
Like Belichick has said in the past, they would ask him about, why does Tom Brady still in the game? And he says, football players play football.
Right. Exactly.
Every time I see these guys not start, and I feel
And we talked about before where the rest is
they,
probably not the
they
best thing.
tend to get more injured when they're
That's
not
right.
playing
That's right.
in the preseason.
Mhm.
And when the guys hold out, like Stephon Gilmore, those
Yeah.
players seem to get hurt when they come back and play.
Yeah. I think that we with Cam, I think you've got to look at what he did, even if it is against the third string. Right. I mean, because that's all you have to go on. You don't last year you had nothing. I mean, yeah, he had, I know you could say, well, he had some, he had some good games, he had some bad games, and then he had COVID. Right.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to judge
Yeah.
where he is based on a last season.
But he's missing
So, and it's,
practices this week due to
Yeah. Protocol.
COVID.
yeah, but
protocol.
was that like that was some sort of mix up though, right? It wasn't
So
like
apparently he left the state, went somewhere that was team approved, but they didn't they forgot about what the protocol was when you come back from somewhere there, that you have to get a certain testing and you have to wait for the results.
Huh.
And you have to quarantine at least 5 days and you have to get 2 negative tests back. So he is ineligible to be with the team until I think Thursday.
Oh,
so he went to Rhode Island to the Foxy Lady. Is that what happened?
yeah.
Or
And he worked off the Mo Vaughn menu.
Yeah.
so I think
Well, two steak and
it's
eggs.
kind of there's a lot of
three
gray
Sabrinas.
areas that are not coming out right now, but I think he went somewhere, got a test wherever he was, but they need to have a test from the team, from whoever's administering the league tests. So I think he got a negative test before he came back, but it doesn't.
Is this even if they're vaccinated, or can they just show that they're vaccinated and move on?
Not sure, because nobody's letting anyone know who's
Yeah,
vaccinated.
Cam, and
Nobody
Cam
know,
was
it's
all
insane.
suspect about it. So
yeah.
Right. He was waffling back and forth on it. Right.
So, a lot of talk today is where Cam's missing all these practices. Is Mac Jones going to get the start Sunday night in the final preseason game?
I'd be surprised, wouldn't you? I'd be really surprised if he got the start.
I mean, if
I think he should, but I feel like Bill will still.
In the past, Bill Belichick would say, if you don't practice, you don't play.
True.
If this is 4 days worth of practices with the starters, then
It'll definitely show
we're
where
gonna
his
see-
favoritism is.
how it's like I still believe that Cam's going to be the starter in the first
Yeah.
opening
Definitely,
season
yeah.
game. But
At this
I
point,
think
for sure.
if he goes by what he's always said, Mac Jones should be the starter this Sunday in the preseason game.
That'll be interesting.
And when
That's
we
it?
talk about but so talk to me about Gilmore though. Like what's
So he was asked about him today. Belichick was, and he's like, "Oh, I see him. He's coming. He's doing his, because he's on the PUP list, so he's, still recovering from his injury or his surgery that he had. So he's like, yeah, I don't see him as much as I like to. But he's here every day doing his treatment and his workouts, whatever he has to do to
Pup for him stands for
Hey.
potentially unpaid right now, right? That's what it stands for.
Right.
So
Also, like,
I guess they have, I think it was 9 or 10 days from today to do the season pup list. If he gets put on the season pup list, he has to miss at least 6 games.
Oh
And
my
then they
God.
can extend it week to week after that. So he can potentially he can stay on the pup list until week 10 or until their 10th game. I think it isn't made because they're by a week. But I think it's the 10th game that he is potentially out until.
I just don't understand. I don't understand why we're not moving faster with that situation. Like, let's get it done and get him on the field. We need him.
Well,
And
so part of the question is, don't they kind of need to see him out on the field to know if he's healthy
yeah.
before they throw some money at him?
I see what you're saying. I'm more leaning towards like, okay, history is an indicator here, right? Let's I mean, they can still see him working out and stuff, right? He's not out in practice. He's not, hitting people and stuff like that, but they can see him running. They can see him.
He's not out there covering people. You don't know how he's moving,
Yeah.
I
Doing his job.
think it was his Achilles he got repaired, I think.
Yeah.
I just
That's a
think
tough
he went out.
injury for a cornerback to come back from. That's got to, swivel and follow the receivers. So I think that they're both playing chicken right now. See who's going to blink first.
To Adam's point, though, I think it feels like they clearly, without saying it, have decided that they are going to figure something out.
Yeah.
Right. So and yes, he could take the field, but is he going to be willing to take the field without a deal to prove that he's ready to come back physically?
Right.
To then get paid? Like, I think there's going to have to be a meeting of the minds. Like, he's not suiting up for game one without.
So I think so. What I've heard is that the team is willing to do an incentive laden contract, which, okay, every game you play will give you an extra couple $1,000,000 per game, but he wants a guaranteed contract. He wants guaranteed money. And
I just feel like we owe that to him. Like, I don't know. I would be a terrible owner of a team because
they'd be out of money.
They overpaid him at the beginning of this contract.
Did they?
Yeah.
Why do you think they overpaid him? I mean, look at what he did for us.
He was making the highest paid cornerback money at the time, at the beginning of the contract. And because it was leveled down. So this year he's not making it. But he signed that contract. That's it. I understand in football, the guys can be cut at any point and not get any money, but still they signed the contract. They should honor the contract.
I mean, it's just the state of what the game is a lot with players now. And I don't even like, if you look in the recent years, like a lot of these players that have held out haven't, like, look at Le'Veon Bell. Like, he completely fumbled the bag. Melvin Gordon too. He held out, then went back, then didn't really get much money. And the Broncos, I don't even know if he's still on that team anymore. I feel like now it's more, I feel like Gilmore is more that he's just trying to get the money. Like, in his head, I don't feel like he's truly like, yeah, I could totally go to, like, Detroit and get all this money or whatever. I don't know why that's just the first one that popped in my head. But
it's a great city. Yep.
That's
It's
true.
all about the lifestyle.
But
it's all about the lifestyle.
I feel like that's just kind of the nature of I mean, Xavier Howard did it a couple weeks ago, threatened to, ask for a trade. And I believe he got his money.
Yeah.
But listen. We backed a truck of money up to our offense, right? We went out and got all these guys, spent a ton of money on offense. And we were relying on, okay, here's our defense that has been reliable over the course of X number of years. Last year,
They signed some. They got Judon, they got Van Noy back. They signed him. They spent some money on defense.
Okay,
too.
so
but I love what I love what Adam's about to say.
Okay, so I hope I follow through, Tim. So we spent all this money on offense, right? We're all in, right?
Except on the most important position in the game at quarterback.
But we can't pay the guy who saved us in the AFC Championship game, who shut down every single receiver in the league over the last few years because we haven't seen him on the field? I don't know. I just don't get it. You've spent all this money, spend the extra money. Even if he busts, even if he's injured, okay, but at least you gave the guy his due. I think we spent the money on offense. Like you said, we spent a little bit of money on defense, not enough in my view. Spend the money on Gilmore. Let's get it done and let's get going because last year was a wasted season. Last year was a wasted season. Brady goes down to Tampa Bay and lights the world on fire, and we're stuck here.
I gotta write that down.
7
he
and
won
9.
The Super Bowl. That's right.
Yeah,
okay,
he
keep
did.
going, yeah.
Well,
he won the Super Bowl.
But
yeah.
listen, Adam, we have Josh Uche, and we have Judon, and we got who just came back from Miami. Who am I thinking of? Help me.
Van Noy.
Yeah, we got all those people, but you know what we can do now? They can throw it over their head. Like honestly,
That's right.
It's like the hang. Like we've done all this other stuff. Just sign him.
Just sign him.
Like if you're really going to go for bust, and I know, to your point, obviously, I know where Billy's coming from. Like we also have the greatest football player that will ever, like the greatest team athlete of all time, and we let him go down to Tampa Bay,
right,
and win with that cockamamie rowboat in the end zone, like all the foolishness that we're allowing to happen, and like, I really feel like they're going to get it done only because I feel like coach is behaving differently. I feel like he's talking differently. And I feel like he realizes if he really wants, because right now, if Tommy runs it back, and I think coach made a great point in a press conference this week. I think if Tommy runs it back, then like we're bigger than just an asshole festival. And that he won't be able to, he won't live on this planet. Yeah. Like he will take his boat to Nantucket and then Mars. Right.
Right.
If you're going to put all this up, if you're really going to chase Don Shula and you really want a Super Bowl to even things out right now, you've got to go all in on that. And and I know they're not, I know the crafts function in a different universe. You're shaking your head. So we'll let Rubber Shoes yell at me in a second. I think if you're paying attention to what Chaim Bloom's going through right now, like he needed one piece to probably psychosomatically make the difference for the playoff run and to really shore up first base. So the people that are in the right position could be in the right position. And I think I'm going to jokingly say that, but watch, if we don't re-sign him and they just start throwing it over our head, because they can, and JC Jackson's a stud. I'm excited about him. I'll be more excited if we have Stephon Gilmore as well. Rubber Shoes is
so
champing at the bit.
So they go out, they spend $25 million to get Stephon Gilmore. They have a really good defense. They still have Cam Newton as a quarterback and
throwing
a guy backing up that hasn't taken a meaningful snap in the NFL yet, and they are still second place in the AFC East
behind the Bills
with Stephon Gilmore.
And also onto the point of
they're probably the fifth best team in the AFC.
All right, so you get the wild card and you go into the playoffs and you knock around some heads. I mean, when the Giants beat us in the Super Bowl, they came in as what, like the 8th seed or something like that? I mean,
I feel like Rubber Shoes has information we don't have. Are the Montreal Canadiens switching to football? Like, what is happening right now? You just became the biggest Patriot hater. Like, right.
I think
it's alive and
just,
well
I
and long.
don't think they need to pay him because I don't think it matters.
So
the most important position on the team is the quarterback.
So you have no faith in Cam or in Mac Jones? You just think this is a throwaway season?
Yeah, that's why I think they should
this is breaking news.
Right from the start.
This is a Luke
get his feet wet, and
let me take some.
Look at San Diego LA Chargers.
Yeah,
Josh Hebert. Oh, not Josh Hebert.
Justin
Hebert has a great year for rookie. They didn't even make the playoffs last year.
But
they have a really good defense.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Cam Newton was a #1 overall pick, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah, was.
Yeah, #1 overall pick. Okay, so let's say he was 80% of what he was when he was at Carolina. Let's say he's 80% of what he was at Carolina. Then we have a really strong, sturdy defense.
Super Bowls did he win in Carolina?
He didn't win any Super Bowls in Carolina, but he didn't have all of the pieces that we have. He made it
to one and he choked.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good.
Well,
Can I?
Angry. I love the anger.
I also want to
Wow.
put in just with the rewarding thing.
Did you bet on?
I-
Did you bet on today's game? Is your bookie at your door?
I would have won if I
He's
did.
so mad about
They
this. Like,
covered.
this is so unusual. Jeez. So who do you have winning the coming out of the AFC? Is it the Chiefs or the Bills?
I would say the Chiefs, and I
Oh.
tell you, don't sleep on Pittsburgh.
I think
Really?
Pittsburgh. I think they're going to suck
Pittsburgh?
this year. I think they're going to suck ass.
Pittsburgh's
They have
one
they have
that
like the
everybody
hardest
loves
schedule.
at the preseason.
They suck.
Everybody
last year.
loves
They
them in
just
the
had easy
preseason.
people.
I'm just that's my
that's his sleeper pick.
Nostradamus
Pittsburgh.
Steelers will win 7 games.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
that's an awful sleeper pick. Rubber
Your
shoes. Come on.
Brownies are gonna finish second
Come
to the
on. Oh my
Pittsburgh
God.
Steelers.
No, they're gonna.
Wow.
I
And
feel
the
like my
Ravens are there.
grandmother
They're the third-
naming all the other grandkids' names
Steelers are like
first.
the third
Next
best.
thing you know, the Jets are going to be ahead of the Patriots. Oh my God.
No,
So-
no. He's like,
Jeez.
no, I don't want to live in
He
that
just
world.
likes because he
Patriots
likes
will be in
Najee
second.
Harris. He likes Najee Harris.
Oh, I love.
Maybe
I love
you
it.
need to get your blood
I'm
sugar
sure.
sugar up a little bit. Rubber shoes. You see him a little, down
No,
in the
I-
dumps. Maybe go grab a granola bar. or
Eat one of your
something. Come
candy
back.
sneakers behind you or something. Yeah.
I think that we should I'd love to see Gilmore get signed. I think he deserves it, but I know what's going on. Like I know what you're saying. Like yeah, he deserves the money and all that, but they're not thinking like that, and that's just kind of also part of the game. Like last year, even before the injury was, I mean, who knows how well he was doing health anyways. But if they look at this, he didn't have the best season last year. He's coming off surgery. I can understand why I wouldn't want to give him that money. And even like you look at the Seattle game, he could not cover DK Metcalf. He had a really rough game. There was some shaky things, and coming off an injury, I understand why they don't want to give them that money. I would still be willing to take it because, unlike what Rubber Shoes thinks, I do think we have a better chance. I'm not saying we're winning nothing, but there's a world where maybe we can make the AFC Championship.
Wow, the shoes household today is just so down on the Patriots.
No,
I
You said they
feel
were
like
gonna
I
make
feel
the
like
AFC
Mother
champ-
Shoes is just sitting in the driveway in her car drinking.
Oh,
Like she's like, I'm not even going inside tonight.
she's not a real Patriots fan, so
Oh,
she cares
Oh.
more about Green Bay Packers.
Oh,
Jesus.
God.
That's why I have the
What is
the Green
happening
Bay
at your
stuff
house?
up here. Brett
Oh
Favre and
He just starts pointing to Funko Pops to make it all make sense.
Yeah. there is a reason why,
This is why they're gonna lose this year.
why I have Packers stuff out here. And there's a
Yeah, you
autograph
think
picture of
Adam?
Brett
You would
Favre.
think there's no law and
I'm
order. It's
still-
actually an
I'm still
algorithm. It's
upset
like
about
his
the
beautiful
Pittsburgh
mind
thing.
when he draws on the window with the Sharpie. It's like the worst. It's like the worst Christmas set ever. The manger set, right? When I move the donkey,
Oh
it means
my
the Patriots
God.
are going to win. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we got to move on. What we will say is we intend to be here next week, normal time. We'll be here early next week, and then
Yes.
the week after that, obviously after Labor Day, I'm actually going to ask for a little more grace, but we'll talk about this off camera. We are going to have our draft episode.
Yes.
The only question is, do we do it Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm lobbying for Wednesday for self-serving reasons. If
Oh.
people can pull off Wednesday, no, yes, maybe.
I
It's right before the season starts, which I
I
like.
could probably do
planned
it.
my other fantasy
our
draft
other
around
draft
this one being on Tuesday.
Oh,
So ours is going to be Wednesday.
oh, okay.
We'll just
At
let
what-
you auto
at what time?
draft your draft.
At what time?
Probably like
It's a work
7
in
o'clock.
progress.
What, at
Yeah.
what time?
Probably 7-ish. I don't know.
You
Have
go
it-
back to back. You'll be hot. You'll be coming off. You'll be coming off the
You'll
grill.
have- you'll have
be
just picked
pissed-
up
pissed
Stephon
at all the
Gilmore.
crappy picks I made in this draft.
Well, I'm throwing that out because obviously Monday's a holiday.
Yeah.
Monday is also my wife's 25th anniversary of marrying her dreamboat. And then
Aw.
Tuesday, thank you. God help her. Tuesday, we have it's a home match for Bubba. He made the varsity golf team.
Oh,
So I would
congratulations.
love to attend that. So it's self-serving. But if,
course,
if
of
we're going to do
course.
it, we're going to do it. But if we can pull off Wednesday, I know Rubber Shoes, you'll be deep in the
Look,
sheets at
so-
that point, trying to figure out all your algoritms, moving Funko Pops to
wait,
figure out
that
your
was-
draft order. But I think
Good
we can make
Funko
it happen.
Pops.
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
If we
Well,
start
we're-
at 4:59, can you pull it off?
Probably.
Oh,
But
I love
that's
that. I love that.
like so that's me, Tyler, and Mother Shoes are all going to be doing back to back.
And based on I don't even know if I'll. have
Isn't
work
that
or
like a
not.
typical night in the Shoes household? You're doing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
back to back to back.
It's one big whiteboard. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
that's
Ty-
right.
Plus, we're not. Tyler got a new job, doesn't know his schedule yet. So
And
Oh.
I gotta be upstairs like 3 hours early to figure out.
What are you
that-
doing? What's the new job, Little Shoes?
I think we announced it already.
No,
on
we
Oh,
the-
you
didn't.
already
We
announced
didn't,
it?
Oh.
actually. We
Oh, we
did.
get to find
I
out
just
now.
thought-
What is it?
It's
Let's hear
Lowe's.
it.
Lowe's Hardware.
At Lowe's now.
Lowe's, all
hardware.
right.
Is that a real can again? Doesn't it look like a mini
Yeah.
can?
It
Hold
looks like
that
a
up.
mini.
I
It
know.
looks like a mini. Yeah, that
That
looks like
is-
a mini. That looks like a mini for sure.
I don't even know how to. It doesn't look.
No, come on. That is a
That's
mini?
a
It's
real
gotta
size
be a
can.
mini.
Yeah.
Here's a water bottle. Here's a water bottle for comparison.
That's
What is
am-
happening?
dude. You have just a bunch of bananas
Those
for a
hands are
hand. It's
giant.
unbelievable. It's
Here, there's my
unbelievable.
phone. like the-
Wow. Wow. Is that an XL phone?
When he holds it
An
to drink
XR.
out of it, it's hysterical because it's like disappears in his hand.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we
Now
are
he just needs to crush the can on his
we're
head.
most likely going to drop the draft on the Wednesday.
Didn't
before the
crush.
season
I just
starts
got
in 10 months.
stuff.
All
out.
right,
We got to figure this out. So in the league, we have Mother Shoes,
Yep.
Rubber Shoes, Little Shoes,
Yep.
Adam.
Yep.
I know we have Uncle Dukes. He told me that Mother Dukes is in, which is
Okay.
awesome. I'm in. Janina is in. We are going to have Bubba's in. Aiden's going to do it.
Nice.
So we need what, a good solid 10 to make this work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9. We need one more.
Oh. Well, I've been granted permission to draft Jess's team, although she does not want to play. So I'd actually be playing with two teams. So I'd be happy to do that, but I don't know if that's fair.
Yeah, we should be able to get one more
We'll
person.
figure it out.
Don't we have one?
Can we
one,
get
listener?
Chadsky for a little
We have one
promotion of his
subscriber to the show, right?
Chad
of
has
his clothing line?
Chad has no desire to do that.
No?
Chad has no desire to do that. We'll
What
figure
about-
it out. We'll get our 10.
Yeah, all right. We got
We'll
it.
get
We'll
our
figure it
10th.
out.
We'll figure our 10th.
okay,
But
yeah.
right now, we believe it might be that Wednesday before the season starts, which is I find fascinating. And correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people get all worked up. Like I know so many guys and girls that have done their fantasy draft for the NFL already.
Yeah, that
Really?
It's fascinating to me. Like
Yeah, I got invited for one last Saturday.
I love doing it. And typically like my neighborhood one will actually do on Monday, which is sort of funny. Like, you know, it's the holiday and it's my 25th anniversary, but I'll still be, I'll
You're
dig I'll
doing your
digitally
fantasy
be at the
draft.
I will not drive to Chelmsford. I want to, but I won't because I,
What do you do in the Lindsay household for a 25th anniversary?
and the kids out.
this is our first one. So I'll start.
Right.
there.
Well, okay, fair enough.
She turned to me the other night. She goes, "What are we doing?" And I said, dinner. And she's like, "Have you made reservations?" And I'm like, "I have."
Yes.
And well, yeah. And she was, yeah, I can't, she's lukewarmish, coldish on what I threw out there. So I turned, I'm
Oh.
like, "Well, where do you want to go?" She's like, "Wherever you want to go." I'm like, "Well, then we're going to Kowloon." Yeah. and I-
Kowloon. Yes.
oh, no, that's not a thing. She's like, "If you're going to be happy about that." I'm like, "Well, I wouldn't be unhappy about that." But I said, we're doing, and this is me being Grandpa Lindsay. I have no desire to do it on a school night. So my anniversary is, Monday the 6th.
Yeah.
I have no desire to go to dinner on Monday the 6th to have to go to school the next day. Right. That's
Right.
not
I
a
wouldn't do
thing I
that
want to
either.
do. So we're
Yeah.
going Sunday night and we're doing
Okay.
the Capitol Grill in Boston,
Oh, nice.
which is a phenomenal
nice.
take. Yeah.
Boston or the Burlington.
Well, there's Burlington, there's Boston, and there's Chestnut Hill.
You going into the town?
Run on Boylston, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think she's not into it, or she's like, "Well, I've never been there." I'm like, "I assure you,
Well,
it's."
she really wanted the.
I assure you, it's
not
decent.
bad.
They won't then ask you to supersize your drink. It's just, yeah, your wine comes in one size. Yeah,
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. Hey,
So I don't-
that's
I
the
don't
sign
know.
of a good restaurant.
that's about it. That's all we really have planned. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
all right.
I've done the draft a few weeks before, and it's so you spend a first round draft pick on. So this happened, when Michael Vick was in his prime, he got drafted in the first round, and then he got hurt in the next preseason game, and then you're out. So it's I like waiting till all the preseason games are over.
11th hour. I do
know-
it Thursday
Okay,
morning. if I
nobody's
can.
injured.
Yeah.
These are the guys that
Yeah.
are getting picked. So
You know what's
agree.
up.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than having your number one pick down before the first game starts.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend that drafted Le'Veon Bell first overall, like a couple days before he decided to hold out.
I definitely
Good
did not
times.
have Le'Veon Bell on our bingo sheet coming
No.
up twice tonight. That's pretty impressive. I like that.
Bingo sheet.
I like that little shoes. You worked them in twice. I like it. That's good.
Le'Veon for the win. So
Still
let's get
free
into it.
agent, I think, too.
We don't have Dukes tonight. He is actually home, and on ultimately a serious note with the breakthrough case. He and his whole family vaccinated, and he and his whole family are fighting the vid right now. So Pfizer, I guess, as of today, got the blessing from the FDA, so they're officially the first one that's approved. Which begs the question: will the leagues start to make people get vaccinated now it has FDA approval? I think it's going to be interesting because, again, whatever employment venue you're in, I know some companies are saying you have to. My company where I'm at, they're not holding people to it, even at the staff level. Obviously, in real estate, everybody's an independent contractor, so we have no jurisdiction really over the agents. They're independent contractors,
Right.
and our staff. We've got what our ownership wants, and then there's what's actually happening. And actually, today we went back to masks in the building. So any communal spot. So as soon as I get to my office and shut the door, I'm good to go, no mask. But if I run down the hallway or whatever, I'm popping it back on, which I have no problem with. I wish we weren't here doing this now. And I think we're heading in a horrible direction, quite honestly. I think if you're a fan of the movie Wag the Dog, if anybody who's a political fan,
Oh, I love that movie.
Dustin Hoffman, great movie. And I think we're about to see that happen in real life.
What was it? Tootsie?
No, Wag the Dog. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one too, though. Rubber shoes.
Yeah. And it's the whole thing about just the orchestration of things. And I'm not saying this is orchestrated, but a real big story to keep an eye on is you've got Jesse Jackson right now and his wife, both vaccinated, have breakthrough cases. They're both hospitalized. If God forbid one or both of them pass away, the country's going to close.
Mike Vrabel.
People should be aware of that. Vrabel just got, now that's interesting. I love that you brought that up. Vrabel tested positive and they were just with the Bucks.
Yep.
And I think if you read the tea leaves, Brady's probably
him and
not
Brady
vaccinated.
were probably kissing, I bet.
Yeah. And I don't think Brady is inoculated, as it were. So
you don't think so?
He's definitely an anti-vaxxer.
Oh yeah.
Is he really? I thought Giselle would be all over
into the TB12 immune.
He made his own vaccination.
And
made it out of avocados. Great.
Yeah, avocado ice cream.
Sure, that'll survive.
Vax. Yep. So,
I mean, I hear what you're saying, Tim, about shutting the country down. The thing that's weird with where we live in New England is it's not as bad as it seems, right? I mean, like if you watch the nightly news with David Muir. Yeah. Yep. If you watch that, though, it's like the world's on fire. Well, it absolutely parts of the country are, but New England is really not. I mean, definitely the cases are rising. Definitely there are breakthrough cases.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, Scotty Dukes is one of those people. Scotty, thankfully, and none of his family, as far as I know, are in the hospital. They're just sick.
Yep.
So that's great.
Yeah. I think
really
he and Mama
news.
Dukes are getting their ass kicked, but the kids are pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is great. And the kids, I assume his kids aren't old enough to be vaccinated, right? I mean, I know he has a younger daughter, but
definitely not the doctor that we saw this morning.
Yes. Ava. Dr. Ava is too young for the vaccination. Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, that they probably have to quarantine themselves and stuff. So, it's hard. That makes it really hard. But I think this is what we were talking about the hurricane earlier too, and how they sensationalize all of that. It really bugs me because this part of the country, we still have to be safe. We still have to be careful.
Yep.
And there are breakthrough, cases, but the vast majority of the cases are unvaccinated people. And this part of the country is like 75% vaccinated, which I wish it were 100%, but 75% is really good compared to like 33% in Mississippi,
Right.
So I don't know. I think personally, if I'm the leagues and I am deciding whether or not to, require the vaccine for the players, it's a no-brainer. These guys are traveling all over the country to parts of the country that are on fire and parts of the country that aren't, and they should be absolutely vaccinated. And
they're not going to stay at the hotel when they land in Vegas.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I mean, the last thing the league wants is Tom Brady laid up up in a hospital room on a ventilator. That's the last thing that they want.
Right.
Or, God forbid, Patrick Mahomes is in a hospital on a ventilator. Anybody,
Right.
really.
Yeah. Anybody. Right.
So I really think that from a business perspective and also just from a PR perspective, you've got to require the vaccine. I don't know what the players associations will have to say about it.
I
But they'll
think
have
you'll
something to say about
have
it,
unions going on strike if that happens.
You
Well,
think so?
it'll be a whole new generation of quote unquote scabs coming across the line to play because they're like, I'll get the shot. If I can go start for the Patriots, I'll get the shot, right? Or I already got the shot. I can't wait to start. Yeah.
It's a huge gray line because I know Governor Baker required all the state employees in Massachusetts to require one. So their employers can make their employees get it, but when you're talking the leagues with football doesn't really, their players association really doesn't have a lot of power.
Do you think Cole Beasley's gonna get it? There's no chance of that.
Nope.
Yeah, but doesn't the NFL have something right now that if a COVID case makes it so that they have to cancel a game, there's some sort of penalty against the team?
They just automatically lose.
Right now?
They lose and nobody gets paid. They forfeit the game, nobody gets paid.
I mean, if that's not a reason enough to get vaccinated, like what the hell is going on?
People that are vaccinated are getting it as well. So unless they're going to change the protocol of what happens if someone gets it, that you can still play, if someone gets it that was vaccinated, people that are close to them going to have to quarantine.
Yeah. And I mean, look how many times the Yankees
get in the same situation. Year. So the Yankees, they were they had all the 5 coaches that were vaccinated come down with it.
The breakthrough cases are changing the whole conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, and to Rubber Shoe's earlier point, I appreciate the language, but I think from a semantical standpoint, corporations are allowed to require it to continue your employment.
Right.
Like there's not a privately held or a publicly held. I mean, yes, municipalities, and federal and state run governments can say you have to, but somebody could still throw up the Cole Beasley peace out. I'm gone. And I don't,
for God's sakes, Hopkins was like, oh, I might retire.
But if you have, if you're let's say you're a rookie with a future ahead of you, right? Or you're a second or third year guy, are you going to throw that away because
some people would?
Yeah, really? I find that so hard to believe.
Very strongly opinionated on this.
For God's sakes, a Seattle rookie threw his career away by trying to sneak in a girl that was supposed to be a teammate.
I mean, yeah, I didn't hear that story, but that it's ridiculous. I mean, of course these guys are 21, 22 years old, so they don't, think about these things. But I just find it so baffling that you're a professional athlete. You worked your ass off for 20 years, 20 plus years, and you're going to throw it away because why?
What's the other side of the coin is the same thing. This person's been working his whole life to get here, and you're putting something into my body that I don't know what's going to do to my body. Could affect me from continuing my career. So
people
take the same take on both sides.
Their unwillingness to answer the question around Cam Newton. I mean, everybody's pretty well convinced that Cam's not been shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's and everybody's like, wow, if I were in his position where he's fighting to hold on to this starting role that we presume he still has, and he knows if he pops, he's going to forfeit the game on behalf of 53 teammates and the coaching staff. Nobody gets paid and it goes into the loss column. I would argue feels pretty strongly about that. And and again, I wasn't in any rush to go get what apparently now is a placebo because I got the Johnson & Johnson. It's apparently not real. Apparently not real. I also don't know what is in it. And that sort of freaks me out. I know that I scrolled through me relinquishing any liability on the state and the country because I scrolled through all of that to get to the point where I clicked to set my appointment. I didn't read any of the fine print. I'm sure somewhere in there I absolve everybody of any liability.
Yeah.
And Lord knows what was in it. We don't know, quite honestly, because it was all rushed to market for emergency use authorization. And I think if a player feels that strongly about it, I support them in that. And at the same time, yeah, some teams are going to make some really tough decisions if this becomes a thing. I think the NFL, if the NFL starts saying, hey, we want to make sure everyone puts a needle in their body, they've been doing that for years. So they're the last league next to the WWE that's going to be worried about who's putting a needle in what, right?
So that's another thing where Cam had it last year. There's a lot of people that feel when they've had it already, they think they're immune to it.
Well,
but here's the thing, right? And not to belabor the point, because I know we're running out of time, but here's the thing. It doesn't really, in my view, it doesn't really matter how people feel. Science is pretty clear, right? If you've gotten it, you can get it again. If you've gotten the vaccine, they were very clear from the beginning. If you get the vaccine, you can still get it. I mean, it's only 90% effective.
Yes.
Right. So if you've got 100 million people that took it, that means 10 million of those people are going to get coronavirus.
Which is
so it's just so it seems like the breakthroughs are coming fast and furious. But if you really think about those numbers, I mean, yeah, 10 million people is a lot of people that have breakthrough infections, but there's 90 million people who haven't. So,
well, no, I know, but go back to Jesse Jackson and his wife. Yes, they're older and they both have vaccinations. He got his in January. So I feel like this is sort of teeing up that whole conversation because that's the thing. You should be getting the booster 8 months after.
Right.
So this is lining up for their narrative. And above and beyond that, you're also not even talking about a breakthrough. If they're a breakthrough case that suffers a fatality, I think that's going to change the entire conversation.
It's just going to be I feel like it's just going to be messy either way. And back to what Adam said, like that's your view. And like, it's probably what's it, but like, who knows what Cam Newton thinks, you know, someone could be like Kyrie Irving where they think the earth is flat and have all this different, you know?
Oh yeah. Have you seen the way the fucking guy dresses? Of course. I'm sure he has some really out there opinions. So
I love Camelot style. And I think he also knows, I mean, I'm also probably going to forage in and play quarterback. And I have to believe, honestly, just presuming I understand his politics, I bet you Dr. Belichick has not got the shot. Bet she has.
Yeah, I feel like
I think there's probably some quiet support for anyone.
But I think in the NFL,
NFL
have coaches, if they're in close contact with players, had to get it.
All right.
I think that was one of the policies that came in over the offseason is that coaches had to get it.
So can we go around the horn here real quick before we wrap, Tim? And can we find out, all right, who thinks that the league should mandate it? Not whether they're going to or not, but you think they should or should not do it. I'll go on record in saying I think they absolutely should mandate
it. I'll let him think, and I'll just say, based on what we have now, no.
Okay.
I think all the league. I mean, I don't think there'll be a unilateral decision with all the leagues. Obviously,
no.
I don't like the idea of any company or corporation like mandating anything. That sort of bothers me. And I think it's just going to be messier. So I'm here for it. I just can't wait to watch them. I love the fighting. I just love the fighting.
Yeah.
I love politics from every angle. I love disagreements from every angle. And I think if it's a mandate, you're going to have arguments. And if it's not, you're going to have arguments. And I love all of it. It's going to be a long winter. Buckle up, ladies.
There's lots for David Muir to talk about.
Oh, so yeah, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to go to my DirecTV app and I'm going to set to record because I will not be home for my man crush to deliver the news to me.
That's too bad.
It's Monday. They have all the weekend numbers coming.
I know. I'm sure.
Yep.
Sure.
I think they should, but I think by them doing it, it's going to cause so much more. You're going to have people just bow out and not play at all.
Yeah,
I think it causes more hurt than it helps.
Until they have a super spreader event on the opening night, and then we'll see how that changes.
I tell you, I went to that Yankees game. That didn't cause a super spreader. I don't think anything can.
Well, I mean, let's walk it back to like everybody was getting all worked up about Obama's party on Martha's Vineyard, which is ridiculous because Chicago had Lollapalooza.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like-
I mean, Jesus.
Absent COVID,
that
should
one
have caused
picture-
deaths.
Right.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
Fenway
Lollapalooza is just
Kids
like
on the
one big
block.
chlamydia fest anyway,
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah. So the fact that nothing really came out of that, or maybe there are numbers coming out of that, but they're parking it because they don't, I don't know. Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? To Adam's point, yes, I'm going home to watch David Muir probably read something to me that isn't true. And I love him for it. I'm here for that as well. We don't have a
Yeah,
ton
of
of time.
course.
We do want to touch on, obviously, Adam always has the soup du jour behind him on green screen.
Yes.
We've got yet another. I'm waiting for them to, put my number up, but I never played, and I still think I have a chance. The Celtics retire way too many numbers. They are chucking. They're chucking yet another one up to the rafters. We're excited because the summer league they're doing really well, going to the championship game in the summer league, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
It
But
already,
let's- I
it
mean, I
already
think-
happened.
That happened last Tuesday.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
blown out.
Oh, they got blown out. I thought you guys said
Yeah.
they were going this week.
No,
No,
they
they-
got blown out, but it was still nice to see him go to the.
Yeah,
Go to
still
the
a good
game.
run. Yeah,
Yeah, I really
And
enjoyed
Pritchard
the game.
was
There, yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you.
I really enjoyed it. I think you guys said
That
it was
was
coming
amazing.
up. I'm sorry. I'm just writing notes down. I don't know what's happening. So let's talk about, do you guys feel like this should be getting lifted to the rafters, or do you think that they're losing their mind? I mean, I think too many people, I love him. I'm not against it. It's going to happen. I don't get a vote. Wick didn't call me, but who's next? Who's the next? I mean, I don't know. I'm confused.
So the
by-
question to me, I was going to say, to me, the question is, okay, so you put KG up. Obviously, Pierce is already up. Do you then put Ray Allen up?
I wouldn't.
Right. So, and I think every Boston fan would be like, hell no, we don't put Ray Allen up. Well, okay. So now you're doing like the big two and you're not counting Ray Allen in that mix.
Mm.
And the only reason I'm in favor of KG going up, and this is the only reason, is because he changed the culture around the Celtics. The culture had been pretty pitiful
Yep.
before,
Mbutu.
like
Yep.
after the 90s. It
Mhm.
was awful until KG came.
Yep.
And so not that he was alone in that, but he was certainly the leader on that.
Yep.
And that's sort of still carried over to this day. So I love KG. I think he should be in the rafters. I agree with you, Tim. I worry that they're just hanging everybody up there. I mean, who's next? Rajon Rondo? Like, come on.
No,
Let's
they,
be real about
Dana Barros.
well, the only
Greg
person that
Kite?
will,
We haven't done Greg Kite yet.
which I think
Jerry
Ray Allen will
Seasteen.
have to make nice
Jerry
with the
Seasteen.
Celtics to have his chance, but he's the only one that's
Right.
probably a possibility is
Yeah.
Ray Allen. There's no one else until
It's A. Thomas.
until they win another championship. I don't think they'll put anyone up there that going forward that doesn't win a championship. And I know they have people in the past been up there without a championship, but
Can't wait in 10 years when Marcus Smart's up there.
no.
What a phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. That was breathtaking.
Marcus Smart.
Oh my God.
I don't think it's like blasphemy that they're doing it. I wouldn't like go that far. I think like there's an argument there. It's just one of those like thin line things. Like same thing with like the Hall of Fame. It's one of those like one of those guys where there's arguments both ways, but it's kind of like leaning towards probably not. But
Well,
there's
KG is a Hall of Famer.
Right.
I mean,
I'm
there's no
saying,
question
like-
about it. Before he came to the Celtics, he was, arguably a Hall of Famer. And then after the Celtics and winning the championship, he's definitely a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. So,
Correct.
so you could make the argument, well, maybe you just leave it up to the Timberwolves to put him up in the rafters and then he goes into the Hall. But I think his impact on the Celtics organization as a whole makes him deserve to go up there. I don't think it's the championship necessarily, although that helps. I think it's what he did to change the culture more than anything else.
Yeah.
Ray Allen didn't do that.
Yeah,
Pierce didn't do that either.
I'm fine with Garnett and Pierce being up there. But that
In the end, I'm
There's no one
cool.
else.
with it. I think it's deserving.
So we have to check in with Scotty Dukes at some point and see what he thinks. I think he's a little beside himself about not wanting it to happen, but
Well,
He
and-
wanted Yan Mater or whatever that guy is up there first.
Yam, who doesn't even
Yeah.
play for us anymore. Okay.
God willing, he'll be back next week. And we thank you for joining us. We're going to wrap it up. You can find all of our content again if you go to our Instagram and go to the link tree. All the social media links are there. And of course, we'll be back next week for another episode. And then the week after that, most likely on Wednesday, Billy has a full night because he's got 15 drafts to get through. Yes, we're good. Wednesday, we think, maybe, sort of. Yes. Look at Billy's like, I guess so.
What an asshole.
How
What an asshole. He changed his other draft for us, and now we're changing it back.
Yeah.
That's just an asshole move.
We don't. I can
try
put
it
it,
out
I'll put it on
Tuesday
auto
night.
draft all day. I'm fine. I'm just not missing
Now
this golf match.
I can
That's
throw
all.
out Tuesday night as an option for my other draft now because we haven't.
And then I'll switch it back. You watch. Aiden's golf match will get moved to Wednesday. One more adjustment. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You know he's getting rained out now, right?
Oh,
Yeah, of course. Oh, what a jerk.
that was angry. Wow.
History speaking, though, we probably will.
I'm tuning into the rant and wrap up tomorrow. Rubbish Shoes is going to have some things to say.
I'll never forget freaking that text of him saying sweep and then just everything unfolded after that.
Yeah, you know what? I think we've pinpointed the moment.
Yep. Now that I think about it,
All
that
Tim's
was
fault.
the end of.
All
Yep.
Tim's fault.
That was the downfall of the Red Sox. Where he said, "Oh yeah, they're gonna sweep the Yankees." and it-
Documentaries are going to be made about that for years
Oh
to
my
come.
God.
Yeah. Bill
All right.
Simmons will be making a documentary pretty soon.
Willie.
No, probably not.
Probably not. He's busy.
He's
He's got a
busy.
draft to get to. All right,
That's
boys.
right.
Appreciate your time. We will see you guys next week. Again, hit us up at atbshow.com for all the video content on YouTube and the link tree with all of our social media on our Instagram account. And Rubber Shoes will be back at it tomorrow morning in Lowell. If they get a lot of rain, it might be the Rubber Shoes rowboat wrap up because he might be sailing down. I always get the street wrong. Not that I'm going to share your street, but I almost said the wrong street anyway. A beautiful avenue in Lowell. I'm not going to say the street because I would never say.
You have been this close to giving everybody's address out on the show.
Yeah, well,
I'll just say I'll be going down beautiful Merrimack Street. How about that?
There it
That-
is, Merrimack
that's
Street.
perfect.
Beautiful.
That's
Biggest main
perfect.
street in the
Yeah.
in Lowell.
And Adam lives at 123 Albatross Court in Connecticut. That close enough?
Right down the street from the Spring Hill Suites.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that place I
We're
didn't
getting on
visit when I
risky
swung through
territory
town.
here.
You know.
Where
All right,
Tim
guys.
called out his window. Adam. Oh. All right.
See you, boys.
See ya.
Bye.